And now yet another instance of a criminal apathy, criminal civic apathy at that has claimed a child's life in Bengaluru. A 2.5-year-old child drowned to death after falling into a pit dug up to install a water pipeline by the Bangalore Sewage Board. The tragic accident occurred as no warning signs were installed in the area and safety measures were also not taken near the site by the workers. The Bengaluru Sewage Board engineer and a contractor have now been booked.
हम लोग 3 दफा इसके 1.5 महीना 2 महीना हो गया इसको कंप्लेन दिए कि जो ये काम कर रहा था यहाँ पर उसको बोले कि भैया ये पाट दो। वो भी हिंदी वाला ही था। वो भी हिंदी वाला ही था। इसको क्लोज कर दो। हम कहें कि इसको क्लोज करो। बच्चे हैं थोड़ा दिक्कत हो जाएगा। माला खेलते कूदते आएंगे कभी गिर जाएंगे दिक्कत होगा हमको। तो इसलिए बोले 2 महीना हो गया बोले हुए हैं 3 दाई कंप्लेन दिए लेकिन नहीं कोई सुना। आखिर में वही बात हुआ जो हमको डर था।
There was a tragic incident that happened yesterday around 9:30 in Bengaluru's Magadi Road pipeline road work. While the road work was going on over here, you can see that there is a pit which is being dug for almost more than 8 months for the pipeline work, for the water pipeline work. The BWSSB has dug this pit to do the pipeline work, but yet even after the work is completed for 80%, yet they have not closed this. And yesterday around 9:30 there was a 2.5-year-old boy who fell into this and died and lost his life. And also now that this road is called as Pipeline Road, where this is a stretch about 45 kilometers, and this road is the entire stretch of a pipeline where the sewage and the water pipeline is being installed over here. And yet this work is going on, but BWSSB didn't put any kind of the signboards over here while the work is going on. And that is the main cause of the small 2.5-year-old boy who fell into it and lost his life today. And this is purely negligent by the civic apathy, and also now the family has filed an FIR against the BWSSB. Further investigation is going on. With video journalist Alphonse, this is Toya Jakshi reporting for Mirror Now from Bangalore.
And to discuss this further, I'm joined by our guest this afternoon, SS Sriram, who is a political analyst, and I'm also joined by Sandeep Anirudhan, who is the founder of Citizens Agenda for Bengaluru. Good afternoon to both our guests, and thank you for joining us here at Mirror Now as we discuss this very tragic episode that has unfolded in Bengaluru. My first question, of course, would go across to Sandeep Anirudhan. Mr. Anirudhan, how do you look at this case? Because this is not the first time around that we are looking at civic apathy claiming lives in Bengaluru. What is tragic truly is the fact that there is no lessons being learned. And this comes at a time where Karnataka is going into elections. How is the government of the day trying to at all have save their faces? Because this is not the first time around that a human life has been lost over negligence on the part of the authorities.
That's true, Sonia. The government just seems to be completely desensitized. It doesn't seem to care because at least this area is kind of, it seems a little remote and it is in a bad shape, so nobody cared. But if you look at the recent instance, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi came and inaugurated an incomplete stretch of a metro line in Whitefield. Immediately after he was gone, the train services started, but all the stations, the stations had construction work going on right inside the station. You had like electrical saws cutting stone inside. There's dust strewn throughout the stations, and these are people actually, commuters were actually traveling through that metro. And everything was exposed. There were construction work going on, there were scaffolding all over the place, and absolutely no perimeter fencing. There is no boards, no danger signs, nothing. And you're talking of the IT hub of India. This is the state of safety standards that we follow across the board, be it be it WSSB, be it BBMP, be it Metro, be it any authority in Bangalore doesn't seem to care about safety of anybody around. They don't fence the construction work with perimeter fencing. They don't put up warning signs. I think it's basically this apathy stemming from lack of standards of safety. We need to have, I don't know if we have a safety authority, but if there is one, it seems to be asleep. There needs to be there need to be heavy penalties applied to people who do not follow safety standards, be it public or private. We cannot risk lives of public due to such carelessness and lack of following of standards. Anywhere else in this world, I think these would be extreme violations of safety standards. Why is it not apply in Bangalore? Why don't we care about human lives in India? This is something we need to really introspect about.
Absolutely. And let me take the question across to SS Sriram, who's also joining us here. Mr. Sriram, how do you look at this entire episode that has unfolded? Because there has to be a standard operating system to ensure that if there is a pit that needs to be guarded around it, there should be some signages, some boards to suggest that there should be people who should be careful around it. And we heard what my colleague Thoya Jakshi had gotten that interaction with the person who says that they had registered multiple complaints requesting them to come up with some sort of a board or at least cordon the area off, because there are kids who are going to be playing around that area. But nothing was paid heed to. Who is to be held responsible, Mr. Sriram?
Yeah, good afternoon. It's very unfortunate that a toddler lost its life. Yeah, Bangalore is a city which is fast developing. There are a lot of infrastructure works that needs to be addressed to for the people's convenience. At least as far as this particular event is concerned, looks like it is not in the heart of the city like a metro is, or a sewerage or a pipeline that is going on the main roads. This is in a corner place. That is, with due respects, there has also been a bit of a negligence by the parents, because the kid cannot walk on its own. A 2.5-year-old kid cannot walk on its own. I'm sure there is a bit of a negligence from their side as well. I'm not justifying the fact that there has been negligence from the government or the contractor point of view. Yes, they must have cordoned off properly. There should be a maximum timeline within which these guys have to complete the work. All these are there. But as far as this particular issue is concerned, I'm sure there has also been a bit of a negligence from the parents for having not probably taken care of the kid's movement, because that is why it has happened, and it has lost the kid's life. Pan-India, there are these contractors who are taking up work have to be more sensible with regard to safety, with regard to human lives. Yes, there needs to be lessons learned across the country, that while we appreciate development, while we appreciate all the infra work for the convenience of the people, they should also be sensitized for the lives, human lives, as we move on along with these developments. Is my opinion, please.
But Mr. Sriram, you are trying to say that the parents also are to be held responsible, but the fact remains that this open pit, the visuals of which we are showing on our screens right now, that has remained like that for a while now, with there being no timeline whatsoever as to when the time has to get completed. Let me take that question across back to Sandeep Anirudhan. Mr. Anirudhan, should there not be a timeline of sorts whereby which these civic works need to be completed? Because whether these are the metro bridge which collapsed and claimed the life of a woman and her child in Bengaluru, or for that matter these pits that are dug up, or bad roads also which are under construction, there is no fixed timeline for that matter, and then there are no heads that roll, there is no accountability that is fixed, and eventually it's the taxpayer who end up losing their life in these crazy accidents.
See, firstly, I'd like to counter a point made by my esteemed colleague. See, if you look at these visuals which are coming, you can see that the pit is right next to houses. Those are hutments. And to say that the parents were negligent is kind of a mockery on the situation. These are poor people. They don't have amenities. Forget these poor people. I live in Whitefield, which is supposed to be Silicon Valley of Bengaluru. But the entire area is like a slum. I mean, there are no amenities. Even the rich areas don't have parks, they don't have open spaces, they don't have proper roads. So let's not mock the poverty of these people. They barely have space to breathe. To expect that to imprison their child in the house itself is a difficult task. Now coming to public works, you go anywhere across Bengaluru, you will find constructions going on throughout the year. Roads will be dug up. There will be steel girders and pillars sticking out of nowhere. And these will literally be open. I mean, pedestrians will be walking right next to it. Anybody can fall into one of those pits and die. And this is kind of an accepted norm. It's like normalized that people think it's normal. Now, and the second thing is civic authorities. I don't know why in Bengaluru. Whenever there's a construction work going on, they don't seem to feel the necessity to have a public display board detailing what the project is, what the approval details are, who's the contractor, or what are the contact details for that particular project. The civic administration, none of the parastatals or the government bodies that do any work feel it necessary to display a board like that. I wonder if that's not a requirement. The world over, it's a minimum requirement. You see any construction site, you'll find a big display board with who's responsible for the job, who are the contact details, the project details, etc. But across the board in Bangalore, we don't find any project displaying, be it government or private. None of them display any sort of information. So that is a violation of, I think, Section 4 of the RTI Act itself, which says that all public spending should so moto have disclosure across whatever means possible. So this goes back to a violation of the right of citizens to know. So and this leads to a whole lot of corruption also, because the information is not available in the public domain, and obviously it leads to other kinds of project bad expenditure, safety standards, and etc. I really need to know. I mean, I haven't had the time because I had to come on to the show immediately. But I really need to know who's in charge of safety standards. I'm sure there must be some nodal authority who has to monitor safety standards of citizens across the board, and that authority needs to be woken up. Apparently, if there is a body like this, they are not
Absolutely.
imposing norms on all other organizations. We need, if there is no such body, I think it's the duty of our civic administration and our governments to come up with a list of safety norms which everybody should comply with, especially on projects that happen in public spaces, in public roads, and even for private projects, because a lot of private projects, construction happening in private projects can risk the lives of those who are around.
Yes, the government cannot really wash its hands off the responsibility and accountability and trying to shift the blame onto the contractors alone. There has to be some sense of accountability with the government as well, because these are eventually sanctioned by the government. We leave it at that for the moment. Appreciate both of you joining us here at Mirror Now. SS Sriram and Sandeep Anirudhan, we have paucity of time, but thank you for taking our time and joining us here to discuss this further.